Welcome to another travel video. I found myself on the way to Milan, Italy for the first time. After a beautiful flight over the Alps, we landed in this historic city.
I would like to welcome you to Milan, where the local time is 9:41.
Never used the train system in Italy before, but how hard can it be? Made it to Milan. Also, I love the European train system. I didn't really know anything about Milan before coming here, and that's kind of my style of travel, is to simply wander around with little plan and see where it takes me. It's more interesting, and you never know what you'll learn along the way. The two best parts of traveling is doing it with people you care about and the joy of discovering something new. So that right there is the oldest church in all of Milan, Italy. It dates, some of it, all the way back to the 4th century, which is like incredible to me. There's original Roman columns on the other side. This is the back of it. The part that drives me nuts is, look at this, graffiti on this ancient, beautiful historic building. That is not cool. But look at that. That thing is so not straight. This whole wall thing is like conked to the side. The whole thing looks like it's shifted or either built wrong or sinking. Also, it's just really hard to capture the scale of this building. They've been adding on to it. So the original foundations and stuff from like the 4th century, but they've been building onto it for quite a while. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Oldest basilica in all of Milan. This is the front entryway into that basilica, which is right there. But these are original Roman columns from like 300 AD or something like that. Are these things like made of marble or something? Like, that's pretty crazy. They've just been sitting out here for like almost 2,000 years or 1,700 years. I don't understand.
I really want to know why the bottom part is different than the top part.
Why the bottom is different than the top? Oh yeah, you're right. So we made it around to the front entrance of this basilica, and I was not prepared for the scale. To think they built this so long ago. And then there's the Roman columns on the other side that I was pointing out, which is kind of ironic. You got these old Roman columns that are right on the other side as a tramway for like their rail cars. Old versus new. The historical roots of Milan go back to the Roman Empire and the early days of the church, which I found fascinating. That's original mosaic from around the 4th century, like Roman Empire era, like the 300s, shortly after the time of Constantine. So like somebody crawled up there like 1,700 years ago and built that. So that's a mosaic. That thing is so vivid. Like, so vivid. So this is a contradiction of old versus new. Got this magnificent cathedral and this very wonky modern era skyscraper that was built in the 1950s and intentionally made it look kind of bizarre. I'm not really digging it personally, but it, in its own way, it's definitely memorable. So I want to go and look at it. But just the contrast between that and this is fascinating to me. So we have found the aforementioned odd skyscraper from the 1950s. And truth be told, I don't really know what I'm looking at right now. So you got this interesting little overhang and then exposed steel rafters and then this weird jut out situation. And then if you look up top, it looks like the windows are busted out or something. I'm so confused. It looks like it was just like sitting empty and now we're like right in the process of beginning the renovation, which would explain why it looks kind of nasty. See, that's what it looks like from the skyline, like from up top. Again, kind of odd. So apparently they're like renovating it and making it useful again, which is good. Interesting piece of trivia, but espresso was invented here in Milan about 115 years ago. So that's kind of neat. And it's like a big deal. This is actually cappuccino, but it's a big deal here. The thing I really appreciate about Europe is you can kind of like just stand in the streets because they're more pedestrian friendly. I've mentioned this in other videos, but the deep rootedness to a long historical past is something I've come to really appreciate. That level of cultural and historical depth is much less in my home country of America because it simply hasn't been a country for that long. I think that's why I enjoy coming to Europe, where places like Milan have buildings and history going all the way back to Roman times. Trish, you see those wooden doors right there? It has like the mini door in it. I just saw someone come out of the little mini door. Big wooden arched doors like that. So if you'll ever come to our house, we have arched doors in them, but they're not nearly that big or nice. What?
The bird hit me.
Are you serious? There's a pigeon.
I felt like it hit me, yeah.
A pigeon flew right between us, like right here. I feel like this is quasi-central Italian macchiato, and I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's a thing that they have here, and it's amazingly good. And there's a beautiful canal right over there. They dug these in the Middle Ages, or something to that effect. Which is like a long time ago. That's a lot of digging. This is a big old tree that's apparently propped up by these beams. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this before, where you have like a tree propped up like this. If you look through the branches, the top part is kind of splitting, so they just ratchet strapped it together. He must really like this tree. So after extensive Google searches, we have determined this is the oldest tree in Milan. But we can't figure out how old it is, which is really disappointing to me. And they just heavily trimmed it, like knocked the top off, and these branches have been shortened. So the massive arched columns thing there was built in honor of Napoleon, conquering, I believe, this region and various parts of Italy. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Milan. Here's another video you might find interesting. Subscribe to my newsletter linked below, where I write about what I'm learning through my travels. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.